something we've heard all our lives about the three co-equal branch of government, which the Constitution does not bear out. The court, for example, I do not see in any way that they are equal in any way with the House, Senate, and frankly the President of the United States. It doesn't read that way. In fact, the Congress is much more powerful. You know, the Supreme Court currently has 9 people, and it has as long as I remember, but it doesn't have to have 9. You know who decides that? Well, it is the Congress. And frankly, it doesn't even say how many have to be on the court. It could be 1. There's no minimum set. It could be 1. And it has been less in the past, and currently in my lifetime, for a long time, it's been 9. Now, what does it say about the courts, though? Well, let's talk about Congress a minute. We're going to talk about the courts, and we're going to talk about a little word, under. The word under, which is a subordinate word. We'll come right back to that in regarding to the Supreme Court, or the court system, the federal court system. But the Congress, they have power, you know, to pass a law, and then, well, at least to submit a law to the president. And if the president chooses not to sign it, and if they can get 2/3, they can pass it. And the Congress decides the inferior courts, as the Constitution says, for the federal courts. They decide where they are and if they'll be. That's their power. And they get to vote on who the president's nominees are. And see, the president can, you know, he nominates who goes on the Supreme Court and the federal judges. But the Congress, they have a say of that also. So what about the judicial? It says that, you know, their authority shall be the authority shall be invested in them to hear all cases regarding law and equity arising under. Remember that word under. Arising under the Constitution, comma, the laws of the United States, and treaties. Now you see, in that whole sentence, it's all governed by that word under. The cases that arise under the Constitution, under the laws of the United States, and under the treaty, they hear those cases. See, there's no authority given to them. And also, in their specified authority, it lists several things. You know, like for example, they can hear cases between 2 states, or citizens of one state and the government of another state. So they can do that. But back to the Constitution, cases arising under the Constitution, under the laws of the United States, and under a treaty. That's what they can hear. In no way does it ever talk about where they have the authority to decide the validity of the laws of the United States, that they have the power to test the laws. In fact, once the law has been passed, once it goes through the whole procedure, it has gone through the House and passed, gone through the Senate and passed. And if the president agrees, he passes it. And so you've got 3 groups of people, 2 branches, that have passed this law. Now this Supreme Court we talked about, it literally could be 1 person. They never envisioned that this court system would turn around to this whole House, Senate, president process and say, well, no, that doesn't make snuff. They weren't given that authority. Now, I'm not saying all the laws that come out of this government are good laws or have been good laws. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just talking about authority. They were not given the authority. They can hear cases arising under the Constitution, under the laws of the United States of America, and under the treaty. Nowhere are they put on equal planes with those laws that they can be the final judge of those laws. I mean, nothing. There is not one thing which would lead you to believe anything but them being subordinate to the Constitution and the laws as well. They can only hear the case regarding those laws and to deal with those laws, to whatever the case may be. But to say that law is unconstitutional, they were not given that authority. In no way. In no way. I mean, really, it specifies everything they can do. All it had to say was that it had to pass snuff. And they had the authority to override. Never says that. They're not given that authority. That, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to power, the Congress has the most power. He have more power than the president, and certainly more power than the judicial system.